Hello. Thanks for everyone for joining me. I'm here with for a second time actually. We talked once before around the time of First Shift coming out. But Uwe Boll, how you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Greetings from Germany here. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, you just finished earlier last year Citizen Vigilante. You got that in the can. Um and then now you're currently you said to me you're working on a new one that you're about to go shoot.
Yeah. So what we did was first I shot Run with
Yep.
Amanda Plummer, James Russo, and so on. And this movie now will come out basically worldwide at the same time in various streamers end of November.
Okay.
So, we finally could make a deal. It's a film about the migrant crisis. It's an action drama,
Yes.
and we learned again that this new playing field making movies, they don't want drama. They want only drama if you have top stars who can run for an Oscar.
Yeah.
Right? So that was, in a way, I think the movie is very good. Everybody who watched it liked it, but then nobody really made a good deal. So we made the decision. We basically sold US, Canada, and UK, and the rest we are releasing on our own also at the same time because
Okay.
we recognized on First Shift One, as soon as it's out in US, it's pirated everywhere,
Yeah.
thanks to the internet. And so we felt we holding back Run till we can set it up that in five different languages the thing comes everywhere out at the same time. So we're not missing out and not getting any revenues out of Asia, Latin America, Africa. So
Yeah.
this way we will generate some revenues. Piracy is of course still there, but it will help. And so Densitis Vigilante with Army Hammer, I watched yesterday the final mix, like the final
Okay. Yeah, kind of,
mix
yeah.
with the music and everything. We really spent time in post production to make it right. It's a very hard, brutal action film, a little like Assault on Wall Street meets Rampage kind of thing. He goes like a vigilante against all kinds of people who do crime and don't get punished, don't get judgment against them, getting away,
Yeah.
like not getting in court and stuff.
Yeah, not getting what they deserve.
Exactly. It's like a little like Charles Bronson's Death Wish, the old one,
Yeah.
meets Equalizer, meets John Wick. I think it's, of course, not so big as John Wick, but it is
Yeah.
instead more brutal like Rampage. It has
Yeah.
this kind of cynical
It's
tone.
tighter than John Wick is what I would say. It's kind of like more like not grand focus, but like
Yeah.
on him.
Yeah, tighter, but also more realistic, right? So
Yeah.
I especially John Wick went off the charts now. It's like
Yeah,
I'm not
it's more of like a it's more of like an action like comic book kind of, you know?
yeah,
It's more what it feels
it,
like.
exactly. It went more this Daredevil, Punisher, Marvel, DC direction in the
Yeah.
last few episodes, and it was also, I think, they're too long now. I mean, movies like
Yeah.
I don't like if they're like 2.5 hours long. I'm good with 100 minutes, and then like
Yeah.
okay, let's have the last fight, and then it's all over. And I mean, Equalizer, not Equalizer, no Equalizer with nah, um,
Denzel.
Denzel. Uh,
Yeah.
I like them a lot. But also there, the second and third part slowly go a little, let's say, too
Yeah.
melancholic, melodram way, and I don't know. It's also like I think it's done now. They should not continue with it in a way.
Yeah.
So I hope, of course, that the market will. We have to. I have to say, like the emails coming in, like when can we see the film? Are
Yeah.
way more as Run, way more as for First Shift was. People are interested in the film because they know it will deliver the action, but they know also Armie Hammer is a good actor and
Oh
is
yeah.
he was an A-list star. He got basically cancelled, and I think they should now uncancel him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've liked him. I remember when he was on a TV show here around like 2009. I saw him on. I was like, hey, that dude, there's something about him, and I've kind of followed his work since then. And it was one of those ones because I it was announced originally as The Dark Knight, or as Dark Knight, I should say.
Yeah,
Then the name change, which I like the name change. I think it does probably kind of fit like where what he is in a way, you know,
yeah.
also.
No, no,
Um, I
of course, I never wanted to, but basically steal the Batman thing.
Yeah,
But Dark Knight has this kind of like forget the comic at one point. Like
yeah.
there are other movies they named Dark Knight.
Oh yeah, but
There
I
was
mean,
yeah,
well, you know, WB they named the movie Rampage. You had three Rampage movies.
yes,
It should have been a little bit of a fair, like, all right, you know.
but they threatened me, of course, with legal action, and
Yeah,
so I said, okay, we changed the title. I'm not in the
yeah,
position also to fight then Warner, about
yeah,
the title. But I think Citizen Vigilante is good. It's more also realistic for the kind of movie, so that people don't expect a superhero movie or something.
yeah.
So
Was there ever an interesting question I have is like was there ever at one point like just thinking of naming it Rampage again, like making it kind of a spin-off or
I
kind
mean,
of
I get
spiritual
emails
reboot?
about it. I get emails about it, but only like from fans, right?
Yeah,
I think to keep Rampage where it is, Bill Williamson is dead, makes the most sense.
yeah,
To develop something else like Citizen Vigilante, what could have a second part or a third part, is I think makes more sense, adjusts more to reality, and then you get like that people like why is not his son now following in his footsteps, Bill Williams?
yeah,
Yeah, but the son would be like 8 or 6 or
yeah.
something. Yeah,
It would only be like a small amount of years. You'd have to do a 2030 film for
yeah,
that.
yeah. Or you have a copycat guy, whatever. But I think
Yeah,
Rampage was Brandon Fletcher as Bill Williamson, and with him, the thing is over. And I had also some
yeah,
podcasts last year with like also Rampage podcast for like fans from Rampage, whatever. And I said, look, I can only make a shitty Rampage 4, and it would not, it could destroy the legacy of it was a trilogy with a real ending.
yeah.
That
But
people say, what the fuck is this now? Like, why is a guy who's not Brandon Fletcher, who's not, and you can also not like cheat it and like, oh, he was not dead at that tree
yeah,
and he's alive.
it's secretly somebody put him in an ambulance and put blood in him. It's like
Yeah.
that would feel really cheap, you know?
That's the thing when they always continue these TV shows, right? So when you have like, oh,
Yeah,
the season was very successful, and then they continue, and you say,
yeah.
it's over. Like that was an 8-part miniseries without the idea
Uh,
to continue. And now because it's a success, you make something out of your ass to continue this. It's ridiculous.
yeah. The TV series Dexter has kind of done that 14 times at this point, where it's like, oh, he was dead, but no, he got dragged off and revived. It's like, okay, all right.
But they canceled it, I read yesterday. The new.
They canceled because they had two spin-offs going. They had a prequel one. That's the one they canceled,
Ah, okay. The
which
other,
was incredibly weird because they had the second season for that ready to go. They were ready to shoot, and then they just canceled it because of a merger thing.
did they stop the shooting then, or are they finished?
I I believe it was about to go into production, and then they were like, "This
Not
is
doing.
too much money. We're cutting it." And it's like
Yeah,
that
I
was
mean,
actually successful.
that's our situation with Paramount Plus on First Shift, right? So you have First Shift was a really big success on Paramount Plus, like 20 weeks in the top 10. And,
Yeah,
various top 10s like drama, cop, whatever, a thriller. And then the whole sale of Paramount happened. And
yep,
now it's Skydance is basically in control of Paramount and also Paramount Plus, and they fired everybody, right? So
yeah,
basically, and they released 2,000 more people will get fired. Uh, and we are a little in a limbo with this, where you feel okay. We develop part two, part three. We are ready to do these films. We have the actors ready to do these films, but we also don't want to do it without kind of a, let's say, any commitment.
Yeah.
So
You kind of you want a little bit of a safety net there just in case.
yeah, and I mean, these films are way cheaper as Taylor Sheridan movies or
Yeah.
series. So for Paramount Plus, I think it would be a very wise step to say, okay, guys, continue this. It's worth the money, and it's not like
Yeah.
5 million bucks per film. It's less, and I think
Yeah.
that's a good deal for them too to say because for me as a Paramount Plus subscriber, it's not
Yeah.
enough stuff there.
Oh yeah. There's some
Oh,
things where it's like my parents have it and I kind of get password from them. There are
yeah.
times where I'll watch something, but it's like it's kind of my least picked one out of all the major ones I kind of access because there are times where there's just a drought of content. There's like nothing really there. It's a
And
little
nothing new.
disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, Netflix, I think, is the opposite. Netflix, you have too much new, and
Yeah.
this kind of you completely lose oversight. They changed in a way the menu now at Netflix, and I have to say
Yeah.
I hate it. I mean,
It,
I get completely confused now when I open my Netflix to see
okay.
uh, what I was watching before. Where is the continue
It's
watching?
usually you have to like go down 4 pages and it's like I just want the stuff I was watching, my list, and then all the other stuff, and I'll go from there. I'll go to new. I watch a lot of stuff, but there are times Netflix really does kind of have like, hey, here's 5 genres that it's like, all right, I don't watch anything like this most of the time, or if I do, I would watch, one thing out of there, but it's the 50th video in a row of like 60 videos. It's like, all right, it's a
No,
little
and also
confusing.
like this columns is like more like this,
Yeah.
or romantic comedy, or whatever, even stuff I normally never watch. And then you have like uh old shit, like where you like I watched that 20 years ago. So, like where you
Yeah.
feel like, so what should I do now? Like where is the new stuff? That's the strange thing that Netflix with so much new productions, a lot of times you don't find anything new. And you think
Oh
like,
yeah.
hey, are they not putting anything up? And um, it's a little like chaotic, what I feel.
Yeah.
Netflix in the handling, like pushing the button, getting subtitles on, that's perfect. They are like, I
No,
think the technology at Netflix is by far the best. But it's, and a lot of things they have, I'm just not into it. I totally
oh
give
yeah.
a shit. I see, like, I'm not watching this. And yes, I know they go very big in international stuff, but most of the
Yeah.
stuff is like, for me, not really interesting, you know.
Yeah, and the problem is also when there are times they'll make a show and it'll be a really big success, and then they will like, all right, we're doing an extra season, and the extra season feels completely tacked on, like we mentioned it earlier. It they do that a lot, where it does feel like somebody had a great idea for one season of a show, or like a movie even, and they turn that into a show, and then it's like that the follow-ups are not doing as well, and then they will cancel them right as they're starting to kind of get a foothold in a plan.
Yeah.
That's been a big problem with Netflix is canceling shows where they do have a plan, but that budget might be too high for them or something like that. I do have another question because you've experienced like two different sides of the industry, I think. You experienced pre-COVID and then you experienced kind of post-COVID. A lot of those changes. I am curious, like, do you think the industry, because like COVID kind of introduced a lot more streaming and people kind of were willing to go more to streaming because of that time, and then after it has kind of dwindled off as much, but people are still like on like the Netflix, all that. So I'm curious, like, do you think it's more viable? Because like the DVD market, kind of did crash, like rental and all that kind of
Yes.
fell apart, which
Totally.
was a shame. I love. I still have a lot of DVDs, movies. I will buy a Blu-ray before I'll buy it digitally. Honestly, I'm one
Totally.
of those people. But yeah, I'm curious about
No,
that.
and you have the making ofs, you have the director's commentary, whatever.
Oh
All
yeah,
this to shit. All this, you barely don't get deals anymore that they release DVDs or Blu-rays. Uh,
yeah,
I was on a fan convention 3 weeks ago. There you have thousands of people. They still collecting Blu-rays and DVDs, and they buy it, and they're happy to have it. And then because if your computer crashes or your hard drive or somebody steals your data, it's all over because it's
oh
all
yeah,
digital. And I like it more to have physically something in my hand. Uh, It's very bad, and it's also I read an article about it, like how Netflix came as the big new hope, but this kind of streaming destroyed home video,
yeah,
theatrical, pay-per-view. It's all destroyed. So now the
yeah,
classical movie revenue chain is shortened to like what we do with Run. You load
yeah,
it up everywhere. That's it. So and
yeah,
if the streamers don't give you shitloads of money before you shoot because they want your film exclusive in subscription forever, right?
yeah,
So then you're fucked because then you need something what pushes the needle that the world watches it. Like this kind of
yeah.
scandal, or you have a lucky draw like Terrifier. Like some
Oh
stuff
yeah,
where people start watching it, and but that's rare. It's
yeah,
not like, oh, Run will be making 20 million bucks in TVOD, like on Amazon to pay 9.99 or something. How should
yeah.
that happen if you don't spend millions in advertising? You know,
Oh yeah.
yeah. So, and
Marketing budgets are insane nowadays. They really are for
yeah,
especially for the big blockbusters. Like they're paying so much money to get these movies out there, and even then, they still only have like a 30-day window before they go to digital, and I think that's what's hurting. Like it's
I
even with
follow,
like
I
big
follow the
movies.
whole Superman disaster,
Yeah,
right? I mean, think about it. Superman started, and I remember after the first weekend, oh, finally something worked. What a great thing that it made so much, like similar with
yeah,
Fantastic Four shortly after. And then
oh
the
yeah,
drop dead, like right after, right? You had
yeah.
2 weeks where they made some money, and then they were done, like, and done
See,
means done.
yeah,
And then now Superman is digitally available already. What is now telling the audience, you are
yeah,
idiots to pay money for this, to go to the movie theaters for this. You can just
yeah.
wait. In 6 months it will be everywhere for free. you know
Yeah, it'll be on HBO Max and all those.
Oh, totally. And
Yeah,
but that shows also the desperation of the studios. And I 100% agree, where the studios are absolutely not clever is in this pissing contest to make bigger and bigger movies and spend more and more money on advertising. Uh,
yeah,
you have this middle class uh, companies like Miramax, Searchlight, Spyglass, like all this stuff,
yeah,
the Lionsgate, they are suffering. They are like not getting, they cannot compete with the
yeah,
budget or the advertising money. Now the people have that mentality after COVID already. I can watch that at home way cheaper.
yeah,
I can watch that soon at home way cheaper because that windows are gone. And
yeah,
um, that hurts the whole industry. That is one of the reasons, together with the strikes from the actors and writers,
yeah,
that made everything more expensive after the strike. So that
yeah,
Hollywood shrink down, that they say we produce 30% less. I mean, we cannot keep
yeah,
shooting all that stuff. It gets too expensive. And, that's the during the whole Hollywood strike, I had this kind of, I think there are reasons to go on a strike. For example, AI,
yeah. Oh
right?
yes,
But if they duplicate you, if you use your voice, whatever, like they steal you, they steal your ideas, they steal your face, they steal your voice, they make you obsolete if you are like, like a CGI artist, or
yeah,
designer of a poster. All these jobs are gone basically based on AI, and I think that's a reason to flip out. But
yeah,
this idea, like, we need more in general more money for whatever we do, that only
It
leads to less production.
it does, yeah. It's basically like what's also killing like the low budget movie entirely, basically. I mean, Hollywood's kind of done that to begin with because the old model of like making a blockbuster would be you'd take $10 million, cut it into $10 million for all these movies, and then the returns from that would fund your big, $70 million movie.
Yeah.
That was the way it worked until like 2002, 2003, around then for Hollywood, and that worked way better. You got to see many smaller movies get made. This whole smorgasbord of small movies that would fund this big tentpole, and that's how it used to be.
Yeah, but you have also when you see like Final Destination, the new one or whatever, or
Yeah.
Weapons now, the that horror movie. These are the cash machines. Like
Oh yeah.
where you can make a movie on a budget, 20, 30 million, and then you spend 20, 30 for all the release, but then the movie makes 150 million bucks,
Yeah.
and you still get all the streaming revenues after.
Yeah.
That's
You
a
get
profitable business.
well.
You know?
Also, I think horror especially is still like the one where people can be the most creative. Still, I think make a big movie that like shows in theaters, like million thousands of theaters, and make that kind of money. And it's the only one I think it's reliably now, at least in like modern like Hollywood filmmaking, that can actually do that reliably still. They've kind of killed a lot of golden geese to get, where they are with other movies, but that they still have the golden goose of horror, I think.
Yeah, because it's cheap to do. You don't need necessarily famous actors, So,
Yeah.
and look, when House of the Dead, when that news came out that they do a new House of the Dead movie with the Paul Anderson guy from Resident Evil, and immediately my House of the Dead revenues went up.
Oh yeah.
Because then people felt, no, we want to see the original. Let's see what the original was, whatever. And I told Lionsgate, look, guys, if it's going up already, that new House of the Dead movie comes in fall 2026. Why
Yeah.
not uh, re-releasing House of the Dead
Oh
for
yeah.
real in
New Blu-ray set.
and they didn't even answer me.
Oh,
So
that's easy money. That's because
it's
people are going to be looking for it no matter what. I also kind of assume revenue does bump whenever there's a new because there've been a couple remakes recently of the first couple games. So like those probably may have also helped a tiny bit too, but it's one of those things where they people don't really want to like a
look
lot of
at
Hollywood does not want to look
fantasy.
at
I even said why we're not doing uh, uh, a cheaper, not like this Sony $60 million movie, a way
it.
cheaper, like with real blood effects, less CGI, more grounded House of the Dead, where I bring all these kind of actors back from the first one as zombies. I mean,
Yeah.
like
I
the,
mean, hey,
the main guy survived, but Clint Howard, Jürgen Prochnow, whatever, all these actors who are dead, but
yeah.
they are now zombies, right? They could come back as zombies. And we do like a real cult, absurd, campy, brutal, entertaining contra film to the big
Yeah.
House of the Dead. Because everybody who follows the Paul Anderson guy knows that he is not a good filmmaker, and that
Yeah.
that is always the same shit, and he will use tons of CGI. And
He's had two pretty big rough ones like recently. I saw a trailer for one that he did with his wife and what's the Dave Batista, and it looked really bad.
and it,
It looked
it totally tanked, right? The
yeah, it looked like a
films are total bombs, and
yeah,
still they hire him to do the new one. And from what I think we even talked
yeah,
about, but I talked a lot of podcasts in the last 2 or 3 years, and the House of the Dead, as when everybody says, "Oh, it got so bad reviews," yeah, but
yeah,
nobody gives a fuck because it
yeah.
was
It's
funny
fun.
and fun to watch. It's entertaining, and that
Yeah.
a lot of the CGI dark things are not entertaining to watch. They are like,
Yeah.
I give a shit. And that's the thing where there was a podcast in Germany, the name is Action Cult. They make one podcast about one movie, right? So they made House
Yeah.
of the Dead. And they're like the whole time making total like they're trashing it, right? So the whole time, like 90 minutes, they're trashing it. But
Yeah.
in between and in the end, they always said, but I had a fucking blast and watched the movie 6 times in
Yeah.
the last 10 years. And that's a bigger compliment as
Yeah.
else you can get for a movie. You know,
The worst kind of movie isn't like a fully unentertaining movie. It genuinely is.
yes. And you have tons of movies where you say, "Oh, that was a masterpiece," but I'm sorry, I will never watch it again because I mean, I'm aware
Yeah.
of it now, but I mean, Titanic, no, thank you. You know, like
Yeah,
whatever,
it's
you know,
a
like
very long movie.
yes, that's the thing. And then you know that was a strong movie or whatever. But if somebody tells me like watch The Brutalist again with Adrian Brody, I shoot myself in the
it's
head. You know,
yeah,
like
it's like it's a one-time through thing at
yeah,
most.
yes, you know, and that was a lot of Oscar-winning movies, 100%, but also
Yeah.
other films. And that's the thing where I think the Hollywood is losing the idea of what their main purpose is
Yeah.
to give you a good time.
Oh
And
yeah.
for some people, a gory zombie movie is a good time. For other people, it's a Jennifer Aniston romantic comedy is a good time. That's what
Yeah.
the audience is. The audience decide. But we know that there is a big audience for horror. You know,
Oh yeah.
Final Destination, the originals also, the fun was the way they killed the people. That
Oh yeah.
was totally absurd, but that made that film, right? Where you feel like,
Yeah.
fuck, you know, so and I think that's what was in House of the Dead. A lot of times you think like, how can he be so stupid? You know, like whatever. And but that made the
Yeah.
film.
But it makes for a fun time. Yeah. It's the same thing with like, yeah, I mentioned Postal because Postal's the one I always tell people like, yeah, if you've heard a lot of shit about Uwe Boll, watch that one. You know, if you don't like that movie, I don't want anything to do with you kind of situation, kind of
Yeah.
movie to me. And I really think that one especially, like when people do shit on you and haven't seen it, it's like give that one a shot because you can see so much there. Like even if you don't like him, there's so much going on in that movie. It is kind of like a laugh a minute movie, you know?
But it's also when you there was that in a magazine put up all the video game based movies. I don't know what a magazine was, but
I
it
think
was
it may have been like Rolling Stone, one of
yeah,
those,
and it was Postal was the worst, like the last.
which is so bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. And you watch this, and so that he put Postal as the worst video game based movie in the history. And but that shows for me,
Yeah.
A, that guy has no clue, but B, uh, that is how much Postal divides the audience. Because I know a lot of people, they would put it as the number one and
Yeah.
would say that was by far the best video game based
If
movie ever.
if
It
if it's not in your number one, it should be in your top five. Like
that's
if it's not,
no,
like
no, because I was so surprised. Far Cry was number 11. Dungeon Siege was, I think, so a lot of my movies were actually not so bad. It was not
yeah.
like all the movies and then all the overball movies. No, it was like really mixed up. And I was with various movies uh,
Yeah.
way in front of Postal, the last one. I think so. Postal is number 35. So, and I felt like when I looked through the charts, it was for me like, how can they be so wrong or so
Yeah.
humorless like that? They have no fucking humor. If you don't get Postal, you
Yeah.
don't get Hangover. You don't get like all these
Like
funny movies. You never
any
really
of
get.
like any of parody comedy, like there's so much of that in that movie, and people just don't get it. And although parody comedy is slowly coming back, we Naked Gun released, which I actually thought was pretty funny. There's a new scary movie. I am curious though. Do you think that
Hopefully it comes back. The ridiculous overdrive comedy has to come back with physically humor too, like where you not only
yeah,
talking humor. And I think helpful are of course South Park, Family Guy, because they
yeah,
kept sharp all at years, right? So they
oh yeah,
don't care about
they're
all
still going.
rules and you know like and oh you cannot do this, you cannot do that. You hurt the feelings of a minority.
Yeah.
Comedy needs to give a fuck.
Yeah, comedy
No
needs
other
to.
solution to it, right? So, and
Yeah.
if you don't want it, don't watch it, but don't try to disallow it. Don't
Yeah.
try to censor it or something, because then you have all these comedies of the last 10 years where you watch it and you think,
It's,
oh yeah, it's okay,
yeah.
but
There's a couple giggles, maybe a
yeah,
chuckle, but there's not anything that's like side splitting, really,
no,
you know?
whatever, like Happy Gilmore 2 now with Adam Sandler, right?
Yeah.
I love Happy Gilmore. I love Adam Sandler, but it's crystal clear this typical half-ass comedies he's doing for Netflix, where
Yeah.
it's not, there's no disgusting scene, no over the top, a dirty scene, whatever. Like he really
Yeah.
has to hold back. Uh,
Yeah. It feels like he's collecting the paycheck, which I respect on some ends, but it's like, do we need Happy Gilmore 2 to be this paycheck for you? You know?
I mean, he got enough paychecks already. Like he is
Exactly.
not like he needs to work. And I think
Yeah.
position, you should work the way you want it. And
Yeah.
you say, look, now we do something a little more edgy, you know. But of
Yeah.
course, it's like the algorithm or whatever, the AI they use also to judge movies, to
Yeah.
you know, remember my T-shirt, Lalawood, you know, the film with Martin Short, you know,
Yep.
with Jimmy the Glick and so on. That was, I was on set. That's the reason I got the shirt, and
Yeah.
that was great, you know. I like, I love Murders in the Building with, you know,
Yeah.
that's a good crime comedy, whatever. It's funny, but of
Yeah.
course, Martin Short can go also harder under the
Yeah.
belt, right? So, and that's the thing. And I think this kind of more Benny Hill driven Monty Python kind of movie, or Zucker Abrams Zucker
Yeah.
stuff, um, that needs to come back in this ridiculous way where people feel offended, where they feel like, what's happening, right? So
Like
that's
how did we get here? What
yeah.
yeah. How did this donkey end up on set? You know, kind of situational thing.
I know, and we will
Yeah.
see. I mean, we will see how it all develops. But I think, um, because I know all that crew people who are suffering now, I think
Yeah.
it will not get better.
Yeah.
You know, I think what will happen is that there, where the production amount is, also New York is way down, of course, right?
Yeah.
And I think there are three things. It will stay how it is, then some people will drop out of the industry. You know, you're
Yeah.
a carpenter, you're a painter, whatever you do, other stuff. But more people will lose the job because of AI. You know,
Yeah.
where they're getting replaced by a computer or by whatever, your cell phone, right? So,
Yeah.
and I think that's the thing. What will happen more and more, like dubbing. We're checking now dubbing in various languages where they basically scan Amanda Plummer's voice and then she
Yeah.
speaks German. You know, you don't need a
Man.
German speaker. The AI
Yeah.
can now basically have the real actors saying it in 15 different languages without being there. You know,
Yeah.
that's how fast it goes. And so for the typical dubbing, the voices, they will lose all their jobs.
Yeah.
I mean that's the thing. It's like graphic designers, little CGI stuff. In earlier years, you had to do
Yeah.
like, you need a technician who puts like a burn in on the TV.
Yeah.
Now it's like
Just
push the button, it's on the TV in the movie. It's like, yeah, it's really like, it's,
yeah.
you can have a normal editing assistant can just do
Yeah.
all this shit, or wire removal or whatever. It's so
Yeah.
much easier now. So CGI in general, VFX gets so much easier and faster and cheaper. So a lot of
Yeah.
people will get losing their jobs, you know.
Man.
So, and yeah, it's maybe sad, but as you said in the beginning, if
Yeah.
you are an independent filmmaker, the
Yeah.
industry is killing us. You know, it's like, oh, we need
Yeah.
this, we need that, we want overtime money, we want a meal penalty if we have lunch too late. All this shit is
Yeah.
It's great to have. And I think all the streamers and all the studios should provide all of it. But if
Yeah.
you have no money and you say, look, I still want to do a movie, I
Yeah.
think you should not get harassed by any union, and they should say you can do whatever the fuck you want. If
Yeah.
you
It's
find
like we're making a
who
movie for
said,
$100,000. This is what we
exactly,
can do. Yeah.
yeah. If you find a crew who said we do it for $50 a day, then you
Yeah.
should be able to make your movie.
Yeah.
And not come, then not that people come, oh, you cannot do this. For this, you need a whatever stunt coordinator, or we sue you. For this, you need an animal pet trainer, or we sue you. For
Yeah.
like all this stuff. There are so much uh, like especially New York, what I saw on First Shift too. There are so many regulations, where they try
Yeah.
to make your life hell, and you say, look, we don't need a police officer looking at our shoot as
Yeah.
how we don't stop the traffic. Why we need a police officer? I mean,
Yeah.
like for what?
Like
And now you need
like
a
we
police
should
officer, and then he's like 10 hours on the clock, and you pay the guy for 10 hours because they make it that you need them, and by the
yeah.
law, and that is what I mean. It's like the unions, they're not aware that there is a huge world with hundreds thousands of people working in art, theater, movies, digital
Yeah.
things, YouTube clips, whatever, right? And
Yeah.
the worst thing to them is if you make their life impossible to live,
Yeah.
So, and
It's got
that,
to be a little tough for you guys to deal with that though.
yeah, and but it's this kind of, but that makes the whole life more expensive. When you see
Yeah.
like all that regulations, um, like in the end, adding the costs up, and then
Yeah.
projects basically will not get made at all because you calculate it for yourself. You said it's undoable. Like I'm not doing it uh,
Yeah.
because I'm not willing to provide all of this. Right? Let's say you
Yeah.
shoot an independent film, and you have 20 people in the crew, right? So
Yeah.
you could have, instead of catering, Uber Eats. You
Yeah.
could have, instead of having a mobile toilet truck,
Yeah.
make a deal wherever you are with a coffee shop or bar, and you say, we get
Yeah.
$30, we can use your washroom. All
Yeah.
of this is not allowed to do.
It is that is
That's
insane.
ridiculous.
It
That's
is pretty. It's like we're skinning like we're on the skin of our teeth. You got to kind of like work with what we can. I get that.
Yeah, and it's also
Wild
like
they don't
as
let you do it.
long as people are okay with it. I'm totally pro union if you have a proper budget, right?
Yeah.
Then it's also like if you hire people and you don't tell them,
Yeah.
by the way, there will be we just order food in, or we make a stop at the donair place and eat a donair in between.
Yeah.
You want to still do the movie or not? And they say, no, not. I want catering, whatever. I want
Yeah.
vegan wrap every day. And the thing
Like
is like where you can say, okay, then you're maybe wrong for my crew. I'm
yeah.
not pro telling people something a lie. Then they're coming home
Yeah.
sad, and then where's a toilet?
Like
Ah, there's no toilet. Is there any trailer? No, there's no trailer. There's no food. Whatever, right? That's
yeah. That's fucked. Yeah.
but I think the market should be so free that at least if you find the people doing it, you should be able to do your movie and not get
Yeah.
problems with the authorities in a way.
Yeah. There was recently like a writer who he had done work during a strike. He was a South Korean writer. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they kind of pulled him from WGA because of that. And it's like, he just did work. Yeah, he just built up a script before, like while it was all going on, and that's what they kind of gave him shit for. And it's like he was working on an idea.
You really think as a
Yeah,
writer, because you're on strike, you don't write anything? I mean, you sit at fucking home, right?
yeah,
Especially also that the strikes happened almost during COVID and stuff like this. So what do you
yeah,
expect? That no, because I'm
yeah.
a writer, I of course write no more words, even in my
It's like
pocketbook.
even if I can't just like write an idea on my phone that I just popped in my head,
Yes,
you know,
that's
it's like
idiotic. You cannot
fucking
stop being
insane.
creative. and you cannot stop also, like if it's your decision, even during a strike, to do
Yeah.
creative work, right? So, and
Yeah.
because you don't take the job from somebody and you're not breaking a strike order. You
Yeah.
break a strike order if you basically go into a TV studio and you keep writing the jokes for Jimmy Kimmel and he puts the
Yeah.
jokes, then you are a strike breaker. But if you
Yeah.
develop a project you work for like for 2 or 3 years on, like a script what
Yeah.
gets shot after the strike,
Yeah. And
uh,
it's like
what
an idea that you got that like you're just workshopping. That should be perfectly fine, but it
that's the
it's
thing.
very dumb.
There's so much um, righteousness about this.
Yeah.
So what they did there, oh, we throw you out. And I mean, the only leverage this unions in general have is the healthcare.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's the health and pension fund. The actors, for example, could lose everything they amalgamated there if they get
Yeah.
thrown out of SAG. That's
Which
the power play they play with you, right? So
yeah.
let's say you're an actor for 20 years, you paid the money there for a retirement fund, whatever, and then you say, "Fuck the strike, I shoot the film," right? Then they say,
Yeah.
"Well, bye bye with the money, you're out,"
Yeah.
right?
It
They can blackmail you basically to not do the film. So, and the same with the writers who pay into it too. And that's the thing. It's like, it's this kind of where your own union basically is doing things against your will, so you fall in line.
yeah. And it's heartbreaking because it's like, at very least let them cash out what they've earned, just give them a pension at least at that point if
Yeah.
you're gonna fuck them
But I mean,
over. Just
let's say you had $100,000 in retirement fund, and you say, "For me,
yeah,
it's over. I will shoot now that film. I need to shoot that film. Pay me the
yeah,
100 grand, and I'm out. I'm
yeah.
never sacked anymore, right?"
Yeah, it's like you'll never see me again. I'm out.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
but that's not the way it works. So, and
it's tough.
it's easier as this director. I'm a member of the DGC, like the in Canada, the Directors Guild. But when
Yeah,
you do films where you're also the producer, like me, and you raise the
yeah,
money, then they don't tell you you need to pay yourself the salary of a director. When you say no, I
yeah,
basically do everything here, and I'm not paying money out to me for what? Right? So
yeah. It's
it's like
like
it's my money. So if I wire
yeah,
it to myself and then pay taxes on it, we should forget that that's the absurdity, right? Because as soon as you
yeah,
pay your fee, you pay taxes on it. So, but it's better the money stays on my account and I'm not getting paid out to me because then I
yeah. It's
can use it in full without paying taxes for it for production costs. So
yeah,
they normally are, or at least let's say this way, they never made a problem. They never contacted me and say, "What are you doing? Like why
yeah,
you're not paying?" I pay my dues, the membership fees,
yeah,
but that's it. And as long I'm not getting hired as a director, I'm not paying a
yeah.
director fee to me. So
Okay,
that's fair. But I know
yeah,
the SAG or also the IATSE, like the crew people, Teamsters, whatever, they're way more aggressive.
yeah,
Keep everybody doing whatever they want, So yeah, that's the thing. It's like I think also that streaming um,
yeah,
made the quality of overall production go down. Uh,
yeah.
you know,
Well, because they're making so many things. Yeah. They're just making so much it's just coming out that they have to like get all of these productions going, and it does kind of hurt the smaller productions that probably need a little more love.
yeah, but also I think a lot of things. For example, did you watch Untamed with Eric Bana on Netflix?
I've I've heard it. Like I've seen the trailer for it when I was scrolling through.
So it was a big hit, right? But
Yeah,
it's not good quality. It's like this kind of they shot in Vancouver, where I know every location they went, right? But
yeah,
but a lot of the forest, it's like a ranger. A woman falls off a mountain, she's dead. He tries to find them, like he thinks somebody thrown her down, and she didn't
yeah,
really die normally. So,
Mm.
and it's all a murder case. Eric Bana is the ranger who tries to solve the case, and
Yeah.
Sam Neill is his boss. Good
Okay.
cast, right?
Very good
Yeah,
cast.
cast around them very mediocre. That was the first thing, that the side actors were not really
Yeah.
on that level. You see a huge
Yes.
difference. That's not good. But in
Yeah.
Canada, you have that a lot.
Yeah.
When they should bring a star to Vancouver, I had that with my movies too. And then you have some side actors that just daily soap level, but not
Yeah.
like feature film level. And
Yeah.
in the
There's a
US,
few people I see and I'm like, they're in Vancouver. I know that guy.
yeah, 100%. And
Yeah.
that's the good thing with the Taylor Sheridan shows, for example. If you or Mobland with Tom Hardy or this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
every part is perfectly cast.
Oh yeah.
People have two lines and they're really on, and you know the face from 20 other movies. So
Yeah.
and that's good. Like that. So, but that was the one thing. The second thing was they used enormous AI in an
Ooh.
in an idiotic way, because you're in Canada,
Yeah.
you have the landscape. Why you
Oh
make
yeah.
fake landscapes? But they did fake
You
backgrounds,
Yeah,
and
you have some of the best like natural tree lines
yeah,
that you could easily go to
yes.
in the Vancouver wilderness.
Look at Dungeon Siege. There is no
Yeah,
background. Everything in Dungeon Siege is out there. It's there, right? So,
yeah,
and I mean the horses and everything is, of course, it's us, but it's not like
yeah,
we shot it in the studio in front of green screen. And
yeah,
so they missed out on this for whatever reason. And a lot of that digital things look shit. It looks like
yeah.
fake. And I watch it like, what the fuck? You know?
Yeah, because they're using all these big computer screens to kind of the volume technology, which is okay in some things. There have been some movies where that volume has been okay, but there are a lot of times where it's like that looks like you're in front of a bunch of TV screens. I can see that.
And uh,
Yeah,
and the story had a few, let's say, the editing and so on. So it was not on that level as 1923 from Taylor Sheridan, or
yeah,
like great HBO shows. It was not on the level, but it was number
yeah.
one on Netflix, and they renewed it for season two.
Mm.
But season one ends with the case is closed, Sam Neill
Yep.
is dead, and
Oof.
Eric Bana leaves his job. That's a good
Yeah.
ending. Like,
Yeah, where do you go
that's
from
a
there?
real ending. Right now,
Yeah.
they have to like, okay, it's a
Yeah.
success. Now we do season
Uh
two. Okay, no problem. So Eric Bana is doing a U-turn in the car. I just got the call. I'm back at Ranger. That's idiotic, right? So,
uh
but that is exactly what will happen.
yeah.
Because you will have to make it back up, because you cannot make a second season and he's not a ranger at all anymore and clearing up
Yeah.
the case.
It's like where do you go from there?
Yeah, exactly.
That, but that is a writer's room I would not want to be on because it would just be a bunch of people figuring out like where do we go? What do we
Yes.
do?
And I have the same feeling with the bear.
Yeah.
The bear, for me, who owned a restaurant in Vancouver and who opened the restaurant, for me, the bear season one was at that point my favorite show, because it showed
Yeah.
they opened the restaurant, total chaos, nothing works, is exactly what happened with us, right? So, and
Yeah.
and then it turned into a drama where
Yeah.
this personal abyss they're all in. Like everybody is fucking depressed. And you have like
Yeah.
episodes in The Bear now. And it's funny that it gets all the Emmy nominations as a comedy. There is not one joke in The fucking Bear, not one. It's like
Yeah.
it's a very sad, tragic drama about depressed people in Chicago who don't know what they should do, basically,
Yeah.
right? And it's not funny, and it lost all the, let's say, restaurant business part. It's only a side plot
Yeah.
on he doesn't get
Yeah.
his girl. The black chef will maybe leave or not. They go bankrupt or not. But it's all a big
Yeah.
drama. and Josh Hartnett is in it, but it's also painful to watch him. He can only play like psychos, basically, like, and
Yeah,
you
he's been
know,
doing that a lot lately.
also Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, I love Jamie Lee
Yeah,
Curtis, but the mother part, she's so over it. She's so a fucking psycho, right? So, and you feel like,
yeah,
and every single thing, close up, close up, close up. She's crying. Jeremy Allen White is crying. They're both crying. They're so sorry that the brother
yeah.
did suicide. Yeah, but I get it. It's now five. Is it 4 or 5
It's
seasons?
I think it's fourth. I think it's fourth.
I just finished it yesterday, right?
Yeah,
And I felt like I really give a fuck. I want that it ends. And
yeah,
because it's a success and get the Emmy nominations for whatever reason, they
yep.
continue, they get
It,
already greenlit for 2 more seasons. I don't know what the fuck they want to do. I mean, it will be more
yeah,
of the same, stretched out endlessly. Should the restaurant close? Do we get the Michelin star and the hope gets up? But it's not
yeah.
entertaining. All these
But it's
people
like all that restaurant stuff was the most interesting part, and they've kind of eroded it.
eroded it, they destroyed it, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
And it's like you have that with a few of this take Severance. Also Severance, I
yeah,
just cannot get into it. It's a cool
yeah,
idea, it's good acting,
yeah,
but it's like I just give a fuck. Like
yeah,
you feel like, okay, there are 4 seasons to watch now. Like people have a separate life in the office, what they forget when they're coming home.
yeah.
It's a great idea, but I don't want to
Oh yeah,
watch this for 50 hours.
yeah. It's like where are we gonna? Well, the biggest problem I think now with a lot of television is they do not have a plan.
No,
It,
they have no plan. And you know
yeah,
what the great times were when the movies were better, like the Truman Show. That was
yeah,
like Severance on a totally different level. And
yeah.
after 2 hours, it's all over. And you get a
Exactly.
story told what is engaging. And you think, like, wow, I cannot believe it. I love that movie. Right. But Severance, is because it's success. They also greenlit 2 more seasons. Even Ben Affleck, no,
Yeah.
Ben Stiller said now he's not directing one more episode. So means like
It's
they use this as a cash cow now, and they feel like
yeah,
at one point you should shoot everybody and it's good. It's like, and
yeah,
that's one of the reasons I don't want to even continue with Rampage. I think some stuff has to be left alone, and people still remember it and say, "No, that was
yeah.
good." So
It's nice. It's nice to have an opening, a middle, and an ending.
yeah,
Even with like a trilogy of movies, because it's a core structure. You've got three acts as three different films, which are the opening of this character, that beginning of that story, that middle that hopefully is really good. There's a lot of movies that kind of fall apart there, but because it's hard figuring out where you're gonna how you're gonna make a middle movie in a trilogy is because you're making a second act that has to have its own three acts. It's kind of
yeah,
hard to do,
yes.
but
But then
it,
I have to give Taylor Sheridan credit.
yeah,
1923 came to an end. 1883 came to an end. I
yep,
loved 1883 was for me the best thing what he ever did. Uh,
yeah,
it was consequential, and it was like, okay, you get hurt by an arrow, you will die. There is no antibiotics. It's only the
yeah,
question when, with his daughter, who dies then slowly, right? So that was consequential. That was good. And I liked
yeah,
both more as I liked Horizon from Costner. When I
yeah,
watched Horizon, I felt uh, I like Western and I like Kevin Costner. And it was
yeah,
good filmmaking, but it didn't had this heart and grip and grit also, and like
yeah,
Texas with Wolves. It didn't have it, and
yeah,
that's the reason I think it failed, because it's like it didn't grab you enough emotionally that in today's time you make box office with a western.
yeah.
You know,
You need to find something that actually kind of grips you in and makes you want to
look,
really be
Texas with
there.
Wolves, I think worked so good
Yeah.
because of the love story.
Yeah, there was a hook inside it that was the through line for the whole thing. Start, middle, end.
Exactly. First, the
Yeah.
single wolf, it killed me when they shot that wolf, right?
Yeah.
And he spent the time, it was so long, but he spent the time right, because then you identified with his character. And,
Yeah.
and then how he basically turns into a native in a way, right? And then he gets that
Yeah.
woman, and they're respecting him. And that was just great filmmaking, and it totally worked. There also, this Kevin Costner eating up his emotions worked. His strongest side as an actor, what worked in Untouchables too, like in Elliot Ness.
Yeah.
So that were the strongest things from Kevin Costner, and I felt like I didn't felt that on Horizon.
Yeah, Horizon was a weird because I haven't seen it, but I know it had a lot of production issues too. Plus, they made it like a four-part film, I think.
I never finished the other two parts now because they don't have the
Yeah,
money to do it. You know what makes then that was the reason part two totally flopped. I mean, I watched only
yeah,
part one, part two nobody watched because you know already it's dead on arrival. It's like
yeah,
after part one flopped, part two didn't get a theatrical release.
yeah. It
You
was all
know, without the you will never see the ending of anything if you
yeah,
because Costner said, I basically put all my money in and nobody gives me more money. And now he's shooting
yeah,
movies as an actor again. And then you don't want to spend another 3 hours to watch part two. And it really
yeah.
stops like a TV show, right? It's really
Ooh,
like part one was 3.5 hours long. And it really
yeah,
stopped like it's over. And now
yeah.
wait 7 months to watch the next one. I was sitting there, I was so disappointed because I felt okay, if you want the people buying a ticket in a movie theater, you need
Yeah,
every film has to have kind of an ending, kind of
yeah,
where you say, yeah, that continues, but not like see you later, like I'm
yeah,
cut. That you can do only if you're in front of your TV or you can binge watch all four parts.
yeah. When
But
it's like when you know it's coming back next week, that kind of cliffhanger is okay. That makes you want to come back next week. When you know it's going to be 7 months later, and you're kind of not even sure you'll remember it after you get out to your car. That's a problem.
no, for also you have to almost rewatch then the film and or the
Yeah,
last hour of the film to get back into it. And it's
yeah,
just like this show should be a TV series.
yeah.
It should be like they should give him like whatever $200 million for like 12 episodes of an
Yeah.
hour each, and then you can watch it all in one row if you want.
Yeah.
Right?
It
So
would be a whole thing. It'd be a mini series. Like you could watch it like all the way through in one setting if you really felt like it. That would have been great. That would have, I mean, it would have also like because he just came off of Yellowstone at that time and kind of it would have fit right alongside that. But
right along the Taylor Sheridan stuff, you
yeah,
know. And from what I know, is Netflix offered him to pay for the other two films if they go exclusive on Netflix, and he's not.
yeah. I mean, I get wanting it in a theater, but just make a deal with them because they do that sometimes. They'll put it in a theater for like a month and then same time it'll come out on Netflix and go from there. I think
But look, because of this film, he
it-
destroyed. Now, what is the biggest show?
oh Yellowstone. Yellowstone.
I
Yeah.
was so mad how like and
Yeah.
to not like after I loved Yellowstone
Oh
and
yeah.
I loved all the characters, right? And to
Yeah.
say as the lead actor, I'm out, goodbye,
Yeah.
before they wrote you a proper ending. Like,
Yeah.
of course, he had a lot of reasons to be killed. So let's shoot it in a way that you have a dramatic out of that show. You get
Yeah.
killed, right? So,
Yeah.
and to not do this, to not even come back for 4 shooting days or something, after
Yeah.
he made a fortune with that show, his
It's
career got renewed with the show. That made me
yeah.
very upset. I was really like, this fucker is an asshole. You have to
Uh,
think about your fans. And if
yeah.
if you have fans from Horizon now, you cannot not film if nobody gives you the money and you never
Yeah.
shoot the films, or Netflix gives you the money, but it's running on Netflix. You should think about all
Yeah.
the people who want to
Take the
know the
money.
story, how the story ends. You should not think about yourself that you want four big theatrical releases, what will never happen with the movie again. So
Yeah.
it's like, why not say, okay, Netflix, give me 80 million bucks. I shoot that to movies. You exclusive
Yeah.
for them, like Martin Scorsese did, Ridley Scott did, all the big directors doing it all the time, right?
Yeah.
That he refuses us to do it is
It's
But it's also
yeah,
egocentric. It's like this kind of,
yeah.
you feel like who you think you are. I mean, I
Well,
think as a director or actor also, in a way, you
yeah,
serve your audience.
exactly. It's also like you also got to think you're on the back foot. Like you've had two movies that have flopped, right? You should look at this as like a saving grace. Make the movie with what you're given and finish it. Even creatively, also, it's like, how do you not feel unsatisfied by having two movies that are just unfinished, just there on the ground?
Yeah.
It's like
No,
it,
I have that project what for 3 4 years. We have a very good script. It's basically Untouchables too. It's
it,
the last case of Elliot Ness, the butcher of Kingsbury Run. This serial murder case Elliot Ness did, and it was his last case. After this, Elliot Ness retired, and he died
it,
relatively young. Elliot Ness, right? So,
it.
Untouchables was one of the biggest hits Kevin Costner ever had. We
Oh yeah,
contacted his team, and no interest.
damn.
And I felt like, uh, so you have with Horizon only flops.
Yep,
Everybody loved you as Elliot Ness, and it was one of your biggest theatrical hits at $600 million box office.
yeah,
So how the fuck you can have no interest in it? I mean, that's
yeah.
completely insane.
It's another one of those ones. It's like you are on the like currently you're in the spot where you don't want to be as an actor, where it's like, yeah, you've just kind of pissed away everything and nothing came back in your favor.
Yes, and that's
Maybe
where I
this
feel
is a
like,
win.
yeah, where I mean, he played in really shitty films sometimes. Grace, 3,000 Miles to Graceland, or whatever. Like maybe
Yep.
Hooker Sings, Mr. Brooks, that was okay. But I mean,
Yeah.
Untouchables with Sean Connery and
It's a
everything,
great movie.
absolutely. And we had like
Yeah.
Amazon totally like willing to jump on that film, but they said
Yeah.
like without Kevin Costner, what
Yeah.
you do, right? And the other problem is, of course, any other actor we would ask will say, why is the Kevin Costner not playing it?
Yeah. Well, you could just I mean, I would just point to him leaving Yellowstone and just say maybe him being like this is a reason, but
I
it's
know, but
still one of those.
like if
Oh,
you would now out of your, we also have to almost finish here, but
yeah.
who would you think could replace him and bring Elliot Ness
Ooh.
again to life, basically? Who would you think
That
do that?
that is one I'd actually have to sit down and think about. Because admittedly, him as that character is pretty like, when you do think of Elliot Ness, I think of that movie and I think of him. But there's maybe a couple I could say that might, but they're not as big as box office draws. So that's one of those things where it's like having his name attached is that kind of,
Yeah.
well, him as that character is kind of like a draw, but also you'd have to hunt for someone, I think.
Yeah,
You
but you
could,
cannot, like, I'm not getting any financing. It's an expensive film without big names, right? So
yeah,
that's the thing. But I feel like, look, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, they have that age, but there are so this kind of sunny boys, right? So
yeah.
as Elliot Ness, as an FBI guy, I don't know. It's like I have a bad feeling about it. George Clooney. I think no. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm not a George Clooney fan at all, to be honest. Like as an
I like him in some things. My favorite role from him is in Three Kings.
yes, there
Like
was a, but it
that's
was a
a
very good movie also, right?
yeah, that's a whole movie on top of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the grit. Like so, he does like
Yeah.
Butcher of Kingsbury Run is a very brutal film. It's like hard as
Yeah.
Untouchables was, right? So it's not this kind of. I think George Clooney is more this comedy guy
Yeah, he
who
can be
can make
funny,
it
but I don't take him
laugh.
as serious,
No,
you
exactly.
know.
So, and then the problem now also
Hmm.
with streaming is
Yeah.
we have not a lot of bankable new stars.
Yeah. Like there's not a lot of people that you can really look at and say like they are like a George Clooney type or Kevin Costner type. You have people that but people that I don't think are like the last bankable star that Hollywood kind of produced. I'm really trying to think. Like the youngest one.
No, it's the guy who is in Twister and so on.
Oh, Glenn Powell. Yes.
Glenn Powell, but he's way too young to play Elliot Ness now. And
Yeah, not that maybe 40 years from now, but not currently.
you would need Clint Eastwood back as when he was 55. Clint Eastwood
Yeah.
could be replaced Kevin Costner. But the thing is, like, you would have, like, look, go to old Hollywood people, Charlton Heston, Gregory Peck, James Stewart,
Yeah.
all could play Elliot Ness, no
Oh
problem,
yeah.
right?
They
But
have the
they
kind
were
of
like
gravitas and the handling
Gary
themselves that
Grant, Gary Cooper, they could all play the Elliot Ness. So this
yeah,
kind of actors don't exist anymore. And
yeah,
this is kind of strange, but it's like, it's really tough. I looked up and, like, to
yeah.
Google and all these faces coming up. And you cannot have Jason Statham playing Elliot Ness or something. You cannot have this more, let's say,
Yeah.
stupid action stars doing it. It's like not working. Uh,
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal is a good actor, but he's not that type. He was good
Yeah.
in the action
He's
film he did, where they do the second part they're doing now.
yeah.
In
Oh, I
Re-
Roadhouse?
Yes, that was good.
Yes.
Right, so I like that. It was totally over the top, but it worked, right? So it
Yeah.
was entertaining, and they do a second part. I'm looking forward to watch that, but he cannot play Elliot Ness, and
Yeah.
that's the
Hmm.
problem, right? Who could play Elliot Ness? Sean Penn
Yeah.
could play him, but he's too old. Sean Penn looks so
Yeah.
fucked up now. You cannot have him. No, really,
Yeah.
he's so
You need to
old.
find someone who has that gravitas, but isn't like you gotta find the age range of a sweet spot where it's like they're not old, they're not too old to where you don't believe it, but they're not too young where you don't believe it. You need to find that little sweet spot of like
Yeah,
just right, and that's kind of hard now.
yeah.
It,
You
it may have been easier 20 years ago, I think.
totally.
Yeah.
And I thought about Hugh Jackman. I mean,
That's
if,
not a bad
if
Russell Crowe?
look how Russell Crowe's so fat now, and
He is. Yeah. If I 20 years ago, Russell Crowe, maybe physically,
yes,
but
now he would have to get in shape again. And
yeah,
I mean, Hugh Jackman in Prisoners was very good,
he
and
was really good now.
and he never made a good movie like this again. I mean, it's like, I don't know, he
Yeah.
plays comedies and he plays
He,
beautiful.
he did some musicals. Greatest Showman, I remember that one being a big one for him, but I wasn't personally a fan of that one.
No, Tom Cruise would maybe not do it because he would say, "Look, I don't do movies where I'm the second choice."
Yeah.
I mean, everybody will know they are the second choice, right? They will say,
Yeah.
everybody will say, "What the fuck is Kevin Costner not doing this? There's something wrong with the project." That's the
Yeah.
other. So maybe a great film will never get done, and that drives me insane. Where you have something, it's good, people will watch it, and you're not getting, would be for me, after In the Name of the King, the biggest movie I would ever do. It would be a
Yeah.
major movie, right? So, and I would love to do it, and
Yeah.
I think everything speaks for it. But it's really tough. But what we can do is we finish it up for today. But you think about
Yes.
who could play this, and
I will.
you sent me three names basically.
Oh, you got it. I'll keep my eye out because I always like looking at smaller actors. There's some I've seen where I'm like, that guy could do this, and he ends up getting cast for it later, and I'm like, hey, called it.
Yeah,
So, but yes, with that Uwe Boll again, run coming soon, I believe. Set up.
yeah. Run comes in November.
Okay. Check
Oh,
out Run in November. Uwe's shooting another movie very soon. With that, folks, take it easy and have a good night.
good night.